Welcome back, my friends, to Learning Torah Lishma. So we really want to finish this topic. You never know, maybe Hashem will send more things, but for right now, just want to finish off the sanctity of our home, of our town, of Judaism. Right? We were talking about people that have issues with pedophilia, God forbid, or have very high lust, God forbid, and this brings them, it tests them in ways that most people aren't tested by. So we were discussing how we could, the main focus was how could we keep our kids and very, very young adults, because as a person gets older, they become more of they become stronger and in who they are, and for someone to just push them around, it's harder. But when someone's very young, especially kids, that is a pedophile is bedavka, is his, what he's attracted to is kids. So how do we protect our community? We talked a lot about it, and I just want to finish off on a few points on that, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about if someone, God forbid, has that issues, how could they, what things that they could do to help themselves before they, God forbid, do something irreversible, or just something close to irreversible. What could they do? And we talked about that a bit also, but we're going to try to get into things. So first, I just wanted to mention that we talked just to make it clear that when you have a situation, we talked about the system, setting up a system. So you don't want to rely on one expert. You don't want to rely on two, because let's say they have conflicting views. You want to have three experts that could judge a case, and they could determine, is it true, is it not true? Remember, again, this is not like a Bezdin, a court case. This is, you want people that, because, they'll go to court case if that's something that's necessary, understand? But you as a community want to know really what happened, and you do your best in that situation. So if you have three people that are experts in knowing if someone is a pedophile and did something, or someone has very big lust and did something, God forbid, so you need to have three, so that you have it can't be equal. Two must say one way, and in that way, you didn't leave it to one, and you didn't leave it to two. You left it to three, and you could be pretty sure, that they got it right. So that's, very important. And then even if in the court case they don't come out, they're not able to, due to lack of evidence, or because it's a child, they were able to confuse the child and make them say things that didn't happen, and then say, well, the whole thing's a lie, understand? There's all these different tricks. But forget about in court if it didn't happen in court, meaning according to you have to know for your community if it did or didn't happen, and you need to have this set up. So that's one thing. Now, just to hit on this topic again, people don't realize the importance of good people, and we have to be respectful and appreciate that we have good people around us that have morals, that have love and devotion and care, and not to downgrade it. As a person gets older, sometimes you feel, okay, this person did something, I could really get them. You have pent up emotions. You want to just burst it out sometimes, that at people that did things. But you have to know at the end of the day, to not aggravate what happened, to hush things, to bring things down, and stay friends. Again, we're talking about regular life, and to try to keep a status quo, make things better, and not just get into fights with And remember, there are people that you have to be a friend from a distance. Some people from a very big distance, and you figure, and you sometimes you need to tell that to them. I don't want to, never talk to you again, but we really cannot have, conversations. We could say hello, but I don't want to. But if I see that you're forcing me to have conversations with you, then I'm just going to have to completely ignore you. You understand? You speak. Sometimes we forget the simple lessons that we always tell our kids. We'll tell our kids, use your words, and as adults, we're good at using our words for kid situations, but when it comes to adult situations, we're not good at using our words. So sometimes what we tell our kids, sometimes we have to tell it to ourselves, and use our words and other types of things that we tell our kids. We have to say, me as an adult, am I doing that in my adult life when it comes to adult situations that are higher level situations? Am I doing that? So sometimes you don't have the right words, you don't know exactly how to say it. Should I say this and that? That's where we have our elders. You could go to someone that's older than you, someone that's very old, wherever you feel comfortable, and figure out, ask them for advice how to say it. There's people when they're young, they're afraid to hurt anybody, and then they go to an old gadol, and he says, sometimes you can't avoid hurting someone, but you could do it in the nicest way possible, but it's still going to hurt them. But you could do it, but you don't have to kill them. You could just hurt them. You understand? Because you are in that situation that's what you need to do, but you don't have to kill them. You understand? So this is important. So sometimes we go through life where we could start putting ourselves in nido. Like we ban ourselves, and we don't talk to this, we don't talk to this. Our kids can't talk to them, and this and that. All this nonsense, and we have to realize that more important than anything is peace, right? And all these peace. This is very, very important. So that's that. And if we're in such a community and people connect, and we try everything not to alienate people and to disassociate with them, then there's a connection, and that in and of itself will be a protective for our kids, because people will care for another, they'll trust one another, and they'll know that people won't just jump on them for every small thing that they do, or even if sometimes they make a big mistake. I'm talking about a crucial, but sometimes people could say or do things that that they really regret later. And if we do that, then there's the community is connected, and we're not just watching over our kids, but the community is. And if something happens or something's a danger, people will let us know, because we're a community. So this is very important. Now, I want to talk about the idea, and that is Shir Hashirim. Shir Hashirim, Hashem goes, the whole Shir Hashirim, it's basically a story of a shepherd that fell in love with a woman, right? So, and it's a parable of Hashem, how Hashem loves us in every different way. So Shir Hashirim has its story background, but then it also talks about many other things, and many of those other things is how Hashem, He loves us in every type of love. What does that mean? There's a love that a father has for their children. There's a love for a mother that has for their children. There's a love that a brother and sister have to each other. There's a love of a husband and wife. There's a love of a child to their parents. There's all these different types of love, and each one has something unique, right? There's even a love of a slave to its master when it has a good master, you understand? And there's a love of a master to a slave when the slave is good and the master is upright, you understand? In the olden days, there was this idea that if a person couldn't take care of themselves, they would sell themselves as a slave, and now the master would take care of everything. He would give them their wife, he would feed them, and take care of everything, you understand? So there's all these, so each love has something special about it, and Hashem says, all the benefits of each love, that's what I have towards you, Klal Yisrael, and to the entire world. You understand? To Klal Yisrael, because Klal Yisrael chose him, and if anybody else wants, they could join. But Hashem also, on a lower level, has this love to all of his creations, because he created them, you understand? So he is their father in a certain sense, to everybody. Now, Klal Yisrael was the one that accepted Hashem as their father, so they're like the Bechor, they have a certain special, like a firstborn, they have a certain special status. But all of Hashem's creations, he is their father. So, we have to know that there's many different types of love. And what I see lots of times is the people that mean well, that they're talking about this issue, they make it seem like any type of love, right? Like a person, a little kid is cute and not like, understand, you want to tickle them, a girl might want to kiss a little girl, you understand, things like that. And, give a little kiss on the forehead or on the cheek, you understand, give them a hug. And this is not someone that's a pedophile, you understand? The showing love, you have to see what type of love it is. Now, usually it's proper type of love, you understand? But you have to understand, then there's this warped type of love, which is called pedophilia, or someone has big lust. What's the difference between lust and love? Love is that you want to give to the other person. You want to connect. Lust is you just want to take from them. You understand? So that's a very good way to first look at the situation. Is this person, is it that they just want to take, or it's a back and forth? You understand? In most cases, it's a back and forth. You don't have to sit and start looking at every single person, you understand? But if you see something that looks suspicious, you quickly go through these. You think, is it right? Is it back and forth, or that person just trying to take? And that could be a very good point to start. And then if, God forbid, the person is trying to take, then you could, stop it and say, you have to give me a few days. We have to figure out a few things. You understand? You call them in, whatever it is, and all different situations. The tactful way to go about it. At the end of the day, a person has to. You can't just always ask, a zaken or a zakena what advice had. You have to learn from the advice that they have given you in the future how to make your own decisions. You understand? Very, very important. And this is also a big issue, because in Hollywood, you see them forgetting that there's different types of love. They just think any love is lust. It's not just that they think any love is just the love of man or woman, but they think that any love is the love of man or woman, but that's really lust. That's how they understand it. But so it's, maybe people really shouldn't be seeing those things. But fortunately, if people are, they should know that the messages that they're giving are off, and you really shouldn't learn from them. And you should really focus on what's, the truth. There's different types of love and different scenarios, and it's not just the parents that could love their kids, and it's not just, and the kids need more than just the parents loving them. They need to feel loved. They need to feel cared about. You understand? They need to feel wanted. And not just as kids, even as adults, we need that. So this is very important. So that's another point. Now, I just also want to point out, right, we were talking about, even though someone did something wrong, God forbid, you have to weigh the case. There's a difference between someone ripping off someone's clothing, or in Lashon HaKodesh it's called mefata. There's a quasi in-between state when there's something when the person consents, and there's something when a person forces. Then there's a middle stage that in Lashon HaKodesh is called mefata. You talk her into it. You do things that arouse her, and right, it could be either way, understand? But this lashon of mefata is used for a woman because she's more prone to that. And here we're talking about kids. So kids, whether it's a man or a woman, are also more prone to that idea. So you have to, when you're judging these cases, you have to, it's not just did the person do it, but you also have to see what happened. You understand? And that could tell you at what level. I mean, if a person literally forcibly took a child, and then that person, he or she should never be allowed back in the community. You understand? If it was mefata, then that's different. Understand? There is a way to return, even though it's long, but there is a way to return. And and sometimes it was very, it was very close to so you have to see the different situations, and like, what do you do if someone one day before 18 does a consensual, is together? You understand? So how do you view that? You understand? So you have to take, it's not just figuring out if it did or didn't happen, but you also have to figure out, was it coercion? Was she like, I don't even know how to say the proper translation, but but she was like, I don't like to use this, she was sort of, brought into it, but really she didn't want to do it, which is it's somehow that her, or was it consensual that she did it and she really wanted to do it? You understand? And then you could also have consensual, but it was at an age that was too early to be consensual, so it's legally called mefata, but it was consensual. So how do you go about that? And this is things that you need to think about and figure out. You understand? So this is very important. Okay, so now there's another aspect, and that is that you have you have people that are, they want someone that's extremely upright and straight, and that's amazing. And then you have people that also, they want someone that's has more, when there's women, he sort of gravitates to them. They want a Rav or Rebbitzin, or both of them are like that, or the people that they speak to. Like, there's different types. They want someone more outgoing, more, You know, so there's a lot of factors you have to take into place, um, and um, and also according to the severity of what the person did. Was it just a touch? Did they actually remove clothing, God forbid, or did they actually even do an action, God forbid? What happened? You understand? So you have to really break it down and figure out exactly what happened. And then after you figure out each point, not just put it in this vague, because the word pedophile or high lust person includes many, many things. You have to really figure out what happened, what's the scenario, right? Maybe this rabbi or rebbitzin, right, is not is not exactly fully from, and not exactly fully from community decided them. So when he or she touched the opposite sex like that, they, it was like when goyim touch each other and they meet it for friendship. You understand? So you really have to understand what the scenario is, and right, and you also have to remember it could be sometimes that the minor was trying to get the older person, that's an adult, that legally is an adult, to do something with them. So you understand? So you have to really figure out what happened and then how to go about it. You understand? And in this last situation, if the minor was trying to get this person that legally is an adult to do something, then that has to be mentioned. You understand? That has to, you can't just say that the person did this heinous act. You have to, you understand? Yeah, you have to specify. You have to be honest. So this is extremely important. I just want to mention one last thing, and this is a little off topic. You know what? We'll say this. A person that sees that they have these issues or suspects that they have these issues, you have to remember, you do have to, right, we talked about pas basale. If you have a spouse, then you have someone, so that really helps with these urges, you understand? Because you have someone. So that's, first of all, very, very important to remember. And that is, the basic, solution in a very basic way is get married. But there's also deeper things that a person needs to do, they have to know that they're, if someone once in a while, so that's one thing. Also, a person should know, just because once in a while they thought of being with a child or God forbid, or raping a woman, God forbid, that thought came into their mind, but they did not act on it. That doesn't mean that they're that. It means, when we say that someone's a pedophile or has high lust, it means it's something that's very constant in their life. You understand? It's like it's a day-to-day thing. And of course, there's different levels. There's people just when they wake up, they're thinking about it. You understand? So a person really has to figure out. The person has to know. Don't just label yourself in a negative way. Most people do not have these issues. You understand? And don't think you're an exception from the rule. If a person does see that they are the exception in the rule, they for sure have to get proper care. There's certain things that you could deal with in your life. This is something that is above your own pedigree, and you really have to get professional help, and you have to be very careful, because most of the professionals they just cause damage. They're not good. So you really have to be careful to get someone that's good, but you do need professional help. If, God forbid, someone finds himself in that type of mindset, and They have to learn how to control themselves and how to bring down this urge, and how to and learn to avoid certain scenarios. Don't stay out. Have a rule: you don't stay out past 7. You're always home. Don't put yourself in a situation that you might come to do something. You understand? Stay in places that there's a lot of people, right? And don't be one-on-one with someone. So this is very, it's basically like taking the halachas of yichud and putting it to the extreme. So this is important. This is important. And for most people, right, that it's, they're regular people. You understand? You have to understand that a person, the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, the evil inclination, the Satan, he, we have to be careful with ourselves. And that's why in Judaism we have the halachas of yichud, because being too freely touching and being alone with the opposite sex, being too free about this, really, even for a regular person, puts up a challenge. Let's say 2 adults. You understand? Talk about, in regular real life, things that, 2 adults, things happen. Things happen, and we need to protect ourselves. Now, it's important to note that sometimes we make all these protections, but then we don't have a way that they should reconnect. What does that mean? For, let's say, in Judaism, you understand, because I don't think you have this so much out of Judaism, because all the fake religions, if they separate men and women to the extent that Judaism does, no one would ever follow them. Only Judaism that's real could do that, you understand? But there is a big aspect that people have gone, have taken on chumrah stringencies that are just not healthy for them, not healthy for the children, not healthy for the community, not healthy for the Klal Yisrael. You understand? They have gone to such extremes. That's things that Chazal or in Kaveya they didn't say to do, and things that our sages didn't say to do, and not even like ancient minhagim, just like new things that people thought of. You understand? And this is wrong. And it's important that we have to respect Yiddishkeit and not use Yiddishkeit against Yiddishkeit and against people. You understand? It's very important, because that's very much what seems to be happening more and more. That people will, that's called something in the Lashon of Chazal, it's called Naval Bereshus HaTorah, a despicable person, but within the parameters of the Torah, which means is they take the Torah and they warp it, either for leniency, right, which is in most cases, but also in stringencies also exist. And they warp things into a way that Hashem does not want. You understand? And that this is extremely important. It's also very important because a lot of issues that come about is you separate the man and a woman, and the fact is that a person needs holy sex in their life, right? And if they can't get holy sex, then they get just sex without the holy in it. So this separation that's done between men and women right now. Now we're not talking about these, people that unfortunately have, an extreme disorder. We're talking about regular, normal people. The same way you separate them, right, is the same way you have to bring them together when it comes to getting married, when it comes to getting things done, making the community better. You understand there's so many situations that men and women need to be together, and we sort of keep on pushing them away, but we don't have that light speed train that connects them in all those times that it needs to be connected. And if you don't connect them, then you don't have a right to push them away. You understand? So that's, and just because you say, well, they can't be, it's just gonna explode. So you have to know that there's a responsibility of creating those paths of connection. And people shouldn't, people should not have to go through so much pain, and basically they could live their entire lives being disconnected. There should be those ways to connect. And there's many scenarios that, just one of them is getting married. People need to stop with the resume and just go out. Just go out. You understand? Your friends suggest something, your parents, a neighbor, Erlich Yid suggest something. Just go out. You understand? It's sort of funny. If a Jew comes over, whether it's a man or woman comes over and suggests something, so what's the first reaction? Where you have that person's resume, right? But if it's a guy that came, and a person, right, thinks for their protection, whatever, you understand? That whatever that's going through their mind. When someone that's not a Jew, a Gentile, suggests something, they don't ask for that because they understand that the Gentile won't understand them, and they don't want to lose it. If it's because it might be their basher, so then they go out with the person. So when it's a non-Jew, when it's a Gentile, then they'll go, they'll say hello, go for a coffee. Understand? They'll meet the person. But when it's a Jew, then they won't. Right? It's like. So we have to realize this, and a lot of the issues that we have in the community is because when it comes to sex and improper actions or thoughts, is because the system keeps on separating men and women. First of all, in a way that when Hashem, God, does not desire, does not want. He wants there to be a connection between men and women, but he wants it to be holy. He wants that each one cares for each other, that each one wants to help each other. He doesn't want lust, that is just taking and giving the minimal in return. You understand? That's not what he wants. He wants each person to give of themselves completely to each other. That's what he wants. And the system, unfortunately, is a novel Bershus HaTorah. It's a disgusting thing, but within the parameters of the Torah, so to speak, that it's disgusting because it's separating men and women, and then has, the more you separate them when God does not command that, the more you separate them, then the more you have to have a way that they could reconnect in all those scenarios that it needs to be. And if you don't do that, then you don't have a right to separate. And what happens, so that's first of all. Second of all, just this extra separating is not God's will. It might be your will. It might be you as a holy person. You do that for yourself, but to say that everybody else has to do that, that's not right. That's not right. That's you, but you're not God. What you do doesn't mean everybody else has to do that. And lots of times with people that are saying to do this, they actually did the opposite, when they were younger, To a certain extent, the reason why they're saying this is to cover up what they did, you understand? Or even if they let this false ideology pass because they did it when they're younger, and they're afraid to say these types of stringencies are wrong, we have to keep the law. They're afraid to say that. Why? Because then people are going to say, you know why they're saying that? Because when they were younger, they did this. You understand? So, it could be either scenario, but at the end of the day, the same results comes out. And this is very unfortunate. If you're not ready to be a leader, don't be one. Just be a nice, frum yid that knows a lot of Torah. Don't become a leader. Don't get into leadership positions if you're not ready for it. You understand? It's not good for you. Not in this world and not in the next world, for sure. All the damage that you cause or let happen, it's all going to come back at you. God forbid, that's the reality. So it's very important, and there's a lot of these separations that we need to take away, a lot of these bias of resumes, and that we need to take away. You understand? Girls should stop thinking that boys are gonna do something improper, or you understand? In the workplace, they're fine. There they connect, but when it comes to shidduchim, you have to be careful. This is it's just nonsense, absolute nonsense. And I really believe that if we take seriously the Torah and we start fixing, it has to be a rapid fix, not more than 90 days. We really have to change the whole system, get people to stop thinking that the opposite sex is dangerous. Right now, they're even trying to say the same sex is dangerous, right? Before you know it, everybody's people are gonna be afraid of their own parents. You understand? Their own kids, and I wouldn't be surprised if that started already. You understand? This is not Yiddishkeit. This is not Judaism. It's like a Reform rabbi, but just novel Bereshit Torah. You understand? A despicable person within the parameters of the Torah. They keep Shabbos. You understand? They keep kosher. So you can't say, they keep purity of the home. The laws of men, of a wife and a husband, the laws of purity between a wife and a husband, they keep those. So people say, oh, look, they're religious, but then they take that those things and they push it to extremes. You can't eat OU. You can't do this with your wife. Who are you to tell me what I could do in my room? You understand? You can never go over to a girl. Boy, what I want to say, I would like to take you out on a date. Why can't I go over to her and tell her that? Why am I afraid to tell her that? If someone that's not part of the Jew, not from, is not a Jew, would come over and say, I would like you to work I like you for my business, then they would be fine. But if another Jew, that keeps the Torah and says, I would like to take you on a date, all of a sudden you're afraid. This is all because they're from a young age being warped this way. That's why they think, why should a man be afraid to approach a woman in a proper, respectful way? Why should that be? And when we have all these issues, you understand, then what happens is our people that naturally are balanced get imbalanced, and many improper things happen. So yeah, so, and I would say the majority, not just the majority, most of the cases, I would say 86% of the cases, this is what happened. They are good people, but the system destroys them. And that's the truth. And I feel obligated. I know a lot of people, they want to just say that there are people that are wired wrong. They come in not wired wrong, but they were wired with their wiring is messed up, and that's why, which is true. There are people like that, but that's not the common scenario. The common scenario is that the system messed them up, psychologically petrified them, and that caused a rewiring, and that messed them up. And it's terrible that happened, but if they weren't born that way, then that means they could be fixed. If they're born the way, very difficult, you understand, to figure out how to fix that. But if it was some, so Baruch Hashem, that's a much easier fix if they were once normal. But at the same time, it's terrible that the system turns them into this. And the Gehenna, the hell that the people running the system are going to get is unimaginable. It's people have to understand that when you're taking care of any of Hashem's creations, and specifically anybody, and surely Klal Yisrael that chose Hashem in a complete love type of way, and we're close to Him because we said Nasa v'nishma, I accept everything from you, not just this and that, not just what I understand. I accept everything from you, Hashem. That's what Klal Yisrael said. The other nations said, no, we accept Hashem, but what we understand, what if it doesn't mess up too much our lives, you understand, in our desires and things that, but Klal Yisrael didn't say that. Klal Yisrael said, we accept Hashem completely, and because of that, Hashem says, you have a special status. And if someone else wants to accept me completely, they'll also become part of that special status. Right? That's where the pasuk calls Klal Yisrael Kaihanim v'Goy Kadosh. Klal Yisrael is a nation of priests and holy people. Why are they holy? Because they accepted God's holiness. They accepted Him completely, and God is 100% holy, and we accepted that. So you're not dealing with a commoner. You're dealing with the high-level children of Hashem. And to just put them down as numbers and not individuals, to look at things as overall, and not and forget about a percent, especially when it's a large percent and that are being hurt. And in this case, it's a very little percent that they're having success. So they're just looking at the little percent of success, and they push away the big number, the big ratio of failure because of that little number of success. This is unacceptable. This is what we call novel b'reshus ha'Torah, and they have to know this. And they have to fix themselves. And again, we're not coming here. A lot of the mistakes that the people on top are making, or the people that are in control are making, is because no one ever spoke to them a word of truth. And that's what I'm here for, to say it to them. So those people that want the truth could have a base to start figuring it out and to start fixing it. Because you have to remember, if you cause good and you're in a position of leadership, of power, then all the good that you caused, you get, you did this for Hashem's children, and Hashem will pay you. Hashem is going to give you a lot of Gan Eden for that. He's going to be very gracious for what you did. So it goes it goes both ways. It goes both ways. You know? So we really have to think. I want to be a positive force in this world. I'm going to put aside my ego, my shame, my arrogance, and I'm just going to be a servant of God. I'm going to do what Hashem wants. I don't care what this person says, what that person says. I'm going to do what Hashem wants. I'm going to cause good in this world. I'm going to cause marriages in this world. I'm going to make it easier for men and women to meet each other. I'm going to make it easier, right? The people that make it, that help us so much that we're able to get food that is kosher, right? People don't know exactly the laws of purity of the home. I'm going to help them to know those laws. Become a positive force. Stop with this negativity and destruction and destroying you, your family, and everything in your midst. And just saying, I don't care if everything's being destroyed. I just focus on that little bit that is successful. This is not Yiddishkeit. This is not Judaism. This is your own religion. This is what we call novel Bershus HaTorah, that they take the parameters of the Torah and then they create whatever they want. Some people do this in one aspect, some people do it in many aspects, some people do it in every aspect. You know, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And the people that want to be led, that want a good leader, have to know what is a good leader and to push away all these people that are like this. Just don't deal with them and find the real ones. This is and sometimes you might get someone you thought that they were someone who was really an Eved Hashem, and then you find out that they aren't, and you have to push them out and get someone else. Right? You let them leave. You maybe give them two months or 3 months of payment. You want to leave in a respectful way, and so they have a few months to get their even if it's a month, whatever it is, they have a time to get to figure out their life. You don't just throw them out and they don't have anything for the next month. You understand? That's you do it respectfully, absolutely, but you have to know we're humans. Sometimes we make mistakes and we have to find someone else. You understand? Sometimes a person was good and then they started to forget that they forget to differentiate between themselves and other people. If you want to do things, be more stringent on yourself, you can do whatever you want to yourself. When it comes to other people, it's the letter of the law. You understand? So this is extremely, extremely important. So I love you all. I wish you all the best. And there's so much potential. There's so much love in the air, so much care. If we would just listen a little more to our common sense, put down our ego a bit. Don't worry so much about being shamed. To do the positive thing. This is just going to make everything better. Everything better. And there's so much potential, meaning we have the structure, and in most scenarios, the Ravs and the Rebbitzins and the Rosh Hashivas and the Chachams and the Mashpiyim, they have a lot of love in them. They have a lot of care. They want to help, but they don't have yet the wisdom, and they don't have yet the wisdom to realize that they don't have the wisdom. You understand? So we need to realize that we don't have the wisdom yet. We might know Gemaras, we might know this and that, we might learn Mesilas Yesharim, all good, but they don't have yet the understanding of life, to a certain extent what we call common sense, but it's more than that. All the different aspects of life and how to make everything balanced and in sync. And if we do that, if we decide, I'm going to make myself balanced, I'm going to make my family balanced, my community balanced, Klal Yisrael balanced, we're going to cause great things, happy things to happen in Klal Yisrael. Love and devotion, care and trust. Then Hashem is going to be so happy with you. You're going to be happy with yourself. Your spouse is going to be happy with you. Klal Yisrael will be happy with you. There's always a few, trolls, and it's not just good enough to ignore them. You really have to push them out of your life. You have to completely push them out of your life, because the trolls, they talk, right? A nice person, they say thank you and they really appreciate it. A troll, every single day he'll complain. So he just negates all the goodness and all the positive feedback that you're getting from everybody. So you have to completely disassociate and push them out if someone's on the level of a troll. You understand? So Hashem loves you. We love you. We love each other. And if we would take that love and combine it to our minds and appreciate that we have a lot to learn, and we go on that path of making things better and better, I think Mashiach's going to come before we know it. Hashem loves you.